Hello and welcome to Arun in Denmark podcast, the podcast for foreigners living in Denmark. I am Arun Prakash, your host, and I invite expats in Denmark to share their stories and learn what it is to live in Denmark. Whether you have just arrived or have been here for a while, you will find something interesting in every episode. Let's get started. So, Gerardo, welcome to the podcast. I
Thank
would
you.
like to start with an introduction. Give us a short introduction about yourself.
Well, I am Gerardo Sanchez. My friends, you can call me Gera. Yeah, my friends call me Gera. I'm from Mexico. I'm 31 years old. I'm a mechanical engineer. I moved here to Denmark with my wife. She's from Espia. We met while hiking in a national park she was on an exchange semester in Mexico. That was almost 8 years ago. It's crazy to think about that. It feels like it was uh, sooner. Um, and yeah, here I am, and trying to navigate just like you the cultural shocks and meeting really nice people. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's me.
Thank you. How long have you been in Denmark so far?
It's been roughly 1 year and a half.
Year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we divide this podcast into two segments. And
Mhm.
since you have moved recently, 1.5 years, I would like to start with what are the biggest challenges expats face when they move to Denmark? The number one challenge.
Yeah. Uh, I think if we look at it from a general expat perspective, it would definitely be the language. Um, of course, Denmark is a place where you can live your life in English. If you're fluent in English, it's already a great advantage. If you don't even speak English and you're only arriving with your mother tongue, then you should be um, practicing your English. But Danish is something else. It will open many doors, especially social doors. Make new friends besides your partner's friends, uh, I'm sure they will be amazing, uh, as it has been in my experience. So yeah, I think the language, and I'm really happy that you just released, I think 1 or 2 weeks ago, your PD3 guide to
Yeah.
the Danish PD3 guide. So it's on time for me because the next exam will be I will be taking the next PD3, which is in next December. Right now, this is May. So yeah, I'm using that guide.
Thank you for that. I'm happy that you actually mentioned my video, but I'm even more happy that within a span of 1.5 years, you're already applying for PD3 exam. That is impressive. And what made you actually plan for PD3 at a very early stage? It is actually very early, to be honest.
To be honest, I thought it was like the norm for many people. I think the lack of research from my side was played on my advantage. I'm
Mm.
realizing that many people don't do that. I thought that, okay, I am here. I am meeting my wife's family. They are really nice. They are speaking in English with me, but I can still feel that I can connect with them and crack jokes in Danish, or I could understand their jokes, and we could have a even deeper conversation on serious topics. Um, so it was not a big. It didn't took me too long to realize that. Yeah, let's just go at it. When I moved here as well, I was already a mechanical engineer. I was applying for jobs. I didn't arrive here with a job in my hand, so I had some time on my side, and all the support from Julia's friends. Uh, so I just tried to go into the Danish. But I also meet I don't I also have met people that have intimidated me. Like I have a couple of friends that they have taken the intensive courses, so they have started even later than me, and we are at the same like part of the course. So that's also very intimidating, and yeah. So yeah, that's the reason why I got into Danish course.
But it's also intensive course, means like you spend more hours on a day, right? How much hours
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
half an hour? Is it half an hour or 1 hour a day, or how much hours do you spend learning Danish?
Oh yeah, it's a good question for people that don't know. It's so I started last year on February 2023, 2 classes per week, 2 hours per class, and with the school that it's the Studieskollen.
Hmm.
And my experience so far has been amazing teachers. I think as with any kind of class, like
Mm,
from school, university, whatever, it depends a lot on the teacher. So I've
mm,
been very fortunate as well to have like linguist nerds, and they like to be invested in the students. And my first teacher from module 2 was she really enjoyed practicing with us
mm,
pronunciation. And my
mm,
teacher for module 3 and 4, his was a big nerd, and he would go into etymologies and keep everyone invested in the class. So that was also super nice to experience. And now on module 5, I can feel that this teacher has a very long history teaching. You can feel it, and it's compared to the previous one, is probably 95% Danish in class. But of course, he's super nice. If you get stuck in anything, you could always ask in English. But the more you push yourself and embrace the suck, and try to get out of the Danish out of yourself, the better for you
mm.
for the exam.
Yeah, that is quite impressive that you had found the right fit in the school. So you mentioned about Studieskolen.
Mhm.
Studieskolen has many branches, I guess, and it's also quite popular in Copenhagen. Um, was it your first choice to go to Studieskolen, or is it by chance that you got it?
It's very funny, honestly. I just knew I wanted to start school, and
Mm,
I thought, from my ignorance, that I should just choose any, and
mm,
everything would be on my side. Like that's how I felt. I um, passed many classes at university. Like it's, I don't know if it's like a cultural thing, but it's up to you at the end of the day. So I didn't care too much on the school. And then Julia, my wife, she did some research for a few days. I think mainly one of the first metrics, important metrics, was just checking on the Google reviews,
mm,
and like on forums as well. And Studieskollen was one of the schools that was on top of the suggestions.
mm,
So uh, we just knew that as soon as we finished my residence permit, because I was still in the middle of that thing. Once
mm,
I could get that, or and my CPR number and the resident card, I would be able to get the education support. Uh,
mm,
so that's
mm,
what I did. As soon as I got it in February, I started the classes.
mm. Yeah, great. Walk us through the journey of applying for jobs in Denmark. I must admit that that is also one of the challenge many expats face. But what
Yeah.
is your perspective on finding jobs as an expat living in Denmark?
Hmm. Um, first of all, it would, you have to be open-minded. Probably the path is not the same as from your home country.
Hmm.
So in my case, I remember from the Mexican or the American job applying style is that you go through probably many filters, and uh, you mainly meet first the HR people, and that would be a big filter. And then
Hmm.
you could meet the hiring manager, like in my case, the engineering hiring manager. And it would be like, even on that point, you could be like your CV could be put aside. But in
Hmm.
Denmark, um, maybe you would get a lot of rejections. Like, you should work on your CV, tailor your CV, work on your LinkedIn. It's very important. I feel like LinkedIn is something that people here give polish more, and take care of take more care of it. And it makes sense because it's a really great tool to do that. So first of all, I did that. I tried to make it look a little cleaner and more concise with the information. Also, you have to know what are you aiming for, what kind of position, what kind of the keywords you want on your profile. And things unexpected for me, was getting to know IDA, the union.
Okay. Yeah.
IDA is a thing that you would hardly get to find something like that in a country where I come from. I think usually in many countries, union, it's something that is there. It's the union for engineers in Denmark. And I thought when all my friends, Julia's friends, my wife, when she was suggesting that, also her relatives that are engineers, hey, you should join IDA, they could help you. I didn't know the extent of the help until I created my account. I tried, I think for the first 3 months, this is very important to know. Not many people know that the first 3 months are free. You get all the benefits. I haven't met anyone that is an engineer here in Denmark that have stopped being member of IDA after the 3 months. I could see that they have hundreds maybe of events that I could join for many of the engineering industry. So as you would expect from someone that has no professional network in a new country or close to zero, I just get registered to all of them. What would be the worst thing that could happen? So slowly, little by little, with maybe after some weeks, a couple of months, I had a better idea of how the job market was behaving here, and what Danes or locals here, how they do to apply. And then I took also Studieskollen, my language school. They have periodically they offer job application courses or seminars. They're also super helpful. So yeah, my path, I think, came to its first victory when after using these tools and one coaching session for job applications from IDA, which was super professional. Actually, shout out to Jakob from IDA. He's amazing. Yeah, I got my first real interview, and I never met the HR person. As I mentioned, coming from where I come from, you meet HR and then it's like super bureaucratic. But here it was like hiring manager, first meeting, and I was super intimidated. And not only the hiring manager, but his boss as well. So Son and Hendrik were amazing. I think I could feel that we enjoyed the interview. And yeah, they were also super into listening to me. Like all the questions that I had, I could see that they were thankful for my questions. Whereas where I come from, you're not the person that makes the questions. Usually you're tested most of the time, and one little error would be fatal in the process. So maybe a week later or two, I had the second interview, and this was to meet other people in the team and have a tour around the factory. And I have learned by that point that Danes, like one important rule to understand is that Danes, probably the most important resource they have, or the thing that they care the most, is their time. They could be spending this time with their family or with their projects at work or personal projects, but if they are accepting to spend time with you, it's because you mean something to them. Whereas in Latin American countries, for example, we have time for everyone, and we don't care about exactly the schedules. Yeah, whatever.
It is the same in India, my friend. It's the same. I have time for everybody. I have time for everything.
Yeah.
Here, I think that the word priority and prioritization is very key. And I think as I've also worked with Danish companies, they prioritize those 8 hours for work, and then as soon as the clock rings, they're prioritizing for the work,
Yeah.
from work to the family.
And they are super polite, right? Like, oh,
Yeah,
sorry, the time is over, and you will never meet someone more polite to tell you like, let's get the hell out of here because
yeah,
the time has run out. So yeah, that second interview
mm,
went very well,
mm,
and that's how I got that job at the medical device industry. I had never worked in that industry, but I'm a mechanical designer. Um, so I was using the same tools I had been using for years in Mexico for American companies,
mm,
and it has been a lot of fun.
mm.
And the team as well. They're super nice. Also, the work culture here. It's chill, but
Mm.
serious. I don't know how to better describe that. Um,
To
yeah,
follow up
I
with
think.
your story, I wanted to ask you this question. So, was your job primarily based on looking at your LinkedIn profile, or is it a combination of your resume plus LinkedIn, or how was it? What do you think could have been the reason?
To the reason for getting the job.
Job, yeah.
Yeah, I think. Well, no, I think I'm sure in this case that, and because they also told me, the people that interview me, like time after that, I was the person that showed the most interest, and I didn't stop asking questions, and questions that I was thinking seriously during the interview and making notes. So just showing interest, I think it's very easy to it's we forget it
Mm,
usually, but it's very easy to show up to an interview and try to impress, or just back in our in the back of our minds we're thinking about the salary because we heard that this
yeah.
company or this team or whatever, it's a high salary, and most of the time people can tell. We think that they cannot tell, but probably if we are in the other side of the table we would be able to tell on ourselves.
Mm,
So yeah, I think it's that as number one, and number two, I tailored my CV a lot. Like my CV, the way it looked, it used to look for the Mexican American job market, it looked a little different. And I'm just talking about layout. It's not like I changed many words or anything. It's just like
mm,
the layout and the cover letters. I think I hadn't given too much importance for a cover letter, but now I was putting myself into words in a more sincere way.
mm,
Like I have done this, so I think I am able to do this. I like this. I have achieved this, instead of just formalities like I'm training this, so I'm good at this. You have to give it a little more of your touch,
mm,
but this is also not that accurate because for this specific position, I also realized that probably they didn't pay too much attention on the cover letter.
mhm,
And also I realized that I had a very tiny typo in my CV in a
mm,
software name that I forgot, but they also didn't notice. So at the end of the day, it was the interview part, just showing interest. Yeah.
mm. That is nice. And I
Do you think
guess
is it a sorry, is it a similar experience
I can
with
share
you?
my experience to you. I've applied jobs through LinkedIn, and I would say, lucky, one of those lucky ones who have had a really poor CV, but I still managed to get a job. And I realized, like you said, what you do during the interview matters a lot because you're live on camera or in person, then the manager gets to know you as a person. Like you said about taking notes and asking questions, it shows that you are investing your time in knowing more about the company, which means that you're going to
Yeah.
invest your time doing the same in projects, right? And that is exactly what line manager would be interested in. And I think I had the same similar experiences with me. But I guess it's more like you're destined to get this job because you deserve all the effort that you have been putting into. Give us some tips on people who are looking at the video or listening to the podcast. What could they do? One thing that could take them from just from nowhere to somewhere. One step, one tip that would
Yeah.
help expats find job easily from your experience.
Do you have an idea of where right now is your main audience? Like, is it general thing or is it from your home country?
So my audience is primarily who watch this video are actually from
Mhm,
India, but
mhm.
there are also people from African countries. There's also people from
It's amazing.
non-European countries like Egypt, and a couple
Okay.
of people from, yeah, I
Yeah.
think Euro non
I
non-Europe.
just, I'm just asking because I wanted to be a little more aware if I'm giving too much of a Latin American thing, if I should focus on a general thing. But one of the main things you should do for sure is, if you're an engineer like me, is join EDA
Mm,
and attend to the networking events, grow
mm,
your social network. Everyone is eager to meet you. Everyone is, it's rare when you find someone that is against diversity, or especially of ideas. I'm not talking about the way we look or whatever, but
mm,
ideas, what you're bringing to the table. Everyone is very interested in what you're bringing to the table. One of my main mistakes has always feeling, and we have talked about this, is like inferiority complex, because my school is not that popular. It means that people from DTU here in Denmark are way higher in the priorities of the interviewers, but
no,
it's not like that. At least not in my experience so far. Um, so yeah, join, never settle with joining groups and meeting people. You never know. Networking really works here, and it's not that ugly networking that it's from comes from corrupt cultural, yeah, not a corrupted culture place, like that is more like how's it called, influence trafficking, or I don't know if I'm translating that correctly, but it's more like networking, the real get to know the people in the projects, and being honest with yourself. You know what, this project and this other project, they sound interesting, or is my area, or is not, or they are using the tools I know, but I haven't tried the area. Just go for it. And the worst thing that can happen is that you realize face to face with the other person, you know what, this is not my best fit, and move on. That's the best thing that you could also do with a Dane person. They would respect that.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah, great. Before we wind up this session, I would like to know, so if you are focusing on, let's say, establishing a presence, uh, apart from the language, apart from the networking part, how was your experiences finding um, uh, finding colleagues, supportive colleagues? How is your work environment be like on a given day? Do you have colleagues who support you on your personal growth, or do you have colleagues who invest time in helping you learn the language? Do you have some similar experiences?
Yeah, I've had I think it depends on the people. As To reference what we said before, your school experience will depend a lot on your teacher, on your classmates, but mainly your teacher. So at a workplace, I have had many different experiences. Most of them super nice.
Mm,
Uh, what the first one that pops into my mind is that everyone, if you want to make the in-person smile, is just try talking in Danish with them, practice your Danish with them, try local slang or whatever. um, uh, and and then you will also quickly realize, at least for me, from a Latin American perspective, is that there's also a barrier, that this is the coworker barrier. And if you if you're already hired, it means that they also notice in you that you are capable of noticing this kind of barriers. So that happened to me, and uh, with a couple of colleagues, I had closer relationships. Other ones was super professional, and it was, even though it was people my age with same tastes and everything, it was just colleague, people that I would only email during work hours, and that would be it. So it's yeah, it's just a matter of talking to everyone. Again, everyone is open to talk and get to know you, and yeah.
Gerardo, thank you so much for your insights, and wishing you good luck for your PD3 exam in the coming months.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes,
With that, we wind the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us.
thank you.